Happy Kwanzaa, everybody. So, I'm someone over the years that has been known for two different things. I have been known for being the biggest console fanboy on the internet, and I had so many different YouTubers making videos about me, making fun of me, rightfully so. But yeah, I was just someone who would always trash talk PC gaming and defend console gaming every chance I could for like what? What was it, like 3, 4, 5 years, something like that. Then a couple years after that, I was kind of in a transitionary phase where I would still defend console gaming and still talk about why I think console gaming is still great, but I wouldn't necessarily trash talk PC gaming anymore, and I would recognize that PC is actually a pretty good platform and not as bad as I once thought. But then around 2018, 2019, I completely abandoned console gaming entirely, and I had all my consoles collect dust and became a PC only gamer for the first time in my life. For it was almost 20 years that I played video games before that point, and I only played on console. Never played on PC, and I always played. I had like a PlayStation, an Xbox. Sometimes I also had a Nintendo console, had a Sega Dreamcast. So I really I was a console guy, and then suddenly I became a PC gamer, but it wasn't a sudden thing. It was the console slowly becoming worse and worse and worse and worse and worse to the point where I couldn't really defend it anymore. And I couldn't just honestly sit there and defend consoles and not want to get into PC gaming when it got more and more obvious that PC was in fact the better platform and not even close. One thing that I found very attractive about PC gaming is just the customization and the freedom that you have with that platform. You're not locked, you're basically not restricted by one company as to which games you can play and how powerful your machine can be, and what type of mods you can install, and so many different things. I just started to see console as nothing more than an unnecessary restriction as to how I can experience video games. Mods have been an absolute game changer for me with so many different games that I can't imagine ever going back to console and playing the console version of these games. It would just be so much worse. So one thing that would need to happen for me to ever consider going back to console would be full mod support. No questions asked. Just do kind of like what Microsoft does with Bethesda games, where you can download it and there are very few restrictions, except they have the gigabyte thing where if you go above 2 gigabytes for Skyrim, you can't download anymore. Get rid of that shit. But otherwise, what they're doing with certain games is a step in the right direction, but it needs to be full-blown mod support for a lot of these games. Otherwise, I just feel like I'm playing the inferior version of a game on console. Another thing, make consoles convenient again. Like, back in the day, it was a thing where, yeah, like PC gaming, especially during the days of Windows Vista, that was such an awful operating system. Like, there would be so many different software and hardware problems that you would experience, 15, 20 years ago. But these days, PC isn't really, you don't really run into as many problems anymore. Like, there are very few games where I just simply could not run on my PC and hadn't had problems with. But yeah, it was true that for a while, PC gaming was just so much harder to get into and harder for everything to work. While, like, the PS2 and Xbox and GameCube, you just plug the console in, put the disc in, and you're ready to go. Ever since, 2008, 2009, during the 7 generation, we didn't really have that anymore. You had to sit there and wait for the game to install, even if you had a disc. And you're just I remember sitting there for a half hour just waiting to play my new game, even though I got a physical copy. That was my first experience with the PS3, and coming from the PS2, I was just so confused as to why that was a thing now. And then as the years went on, when we went further into the online DRM and all that stuff, with the big updates, you need an internet connection and you need all that stuff. So the convenience of console gaming just kind of was lost over the years. The days of console gaming being plug and play is we're long past that. So if they can find a way to make consoles just so much more convenient than PC and actually give some kind of advantage, then I would also consider going back to console if they did that. But there's really no way to accomplish that aside from releasing a new disc format that's greater than Blu-ray and can hold 100 gigabytes of storage. But with so many games having these 25, 50 gigabyte updates sometimes, it's just there's what can you do? Also, as a PC gamer, the fact that Sony and Microsoft are just putting their games out on PC is it's probably the biggest thing that disincentivizes me from buying a console when I can just play all the games on one platform instead of going out and buying all these different machines. Like, there were so many amazing exclusive games that you can only play on PS3, that you can only play on Xbox 360, but when the next generation came, especially Microsoft, they made a huge push to get all their games out there on PC. And Sony, while they're not doing it at the same pace, still enough where it's like, there's very, very, very few games, if any at all, that I can never play on PC, that I can only play on PS5. So if they don't stop releasing their games on PC, that alone is something that'll make me never buy a console, ever look at a console ever again. That automatically makes console gaming irrelevant. And it's like, what are these fanboys fighting for? We can do everything on PC, including playing all the PlayStation and Xbox games. Even the Switch has a fairly competent emulator. There are still a lot of games that don't really work properly, but yeah, even a lot of Switch games you can also play on PC. So it's like, why do I need these consoles? You can buy a fairly powerful PC for much less than it would cost to buy two consoles, a PS5 and a Series X. As a matter of fact, there's a build right here that actually matches the power of a PS5 for only $650. And if you can go better, you can get this one for $800 that completely outperforms the Series X and PS5. And guess what? With the paid online, an $800 PC is still much cheaper than any one console that you would buy. Especially now that they raised the price for PlayStation Plus to $80 a year. So if you're using online on PS5 for 5 years, you're paying a minimum of $900 just to use the most basic features of your console. While a PC is not just a gaming machine. You could do much more than just play games. And you could play online for free, and you could do all these different things because it's a PC. Like, you can do your homework, you can do whatever. Like, it's like, everyone has a PC, everyone needs a PC. So why are you buying this separate device that just plays video games, and you're actually paying more in the long run because of the forced paid online? That there is no justification for this. There is no reason why anyone should be paying for this. It's funny, people were talking about the Xbox tax and the PlayStation tax, all that shit that people are talking about on Twitter when discussing the Game Awards and how Xbox doesn't get enough nominations, and now I guess there's a PlayStation tax because Spider-Man 2 didn't win Game of the Year. They're talking about these imaginary things. You have an actual tax on your console that costs actual money. You happily pay for it, no questions asked. And it's so much more money that even if you went the pre-built route and you weren't comfortable building a PC, this pre-built PC for a little bit over $1,000 is not only more powerful than a PS5 or Series X, but also costs about the same in the long run, and you get so much more out of a PC. So many more games to play, much bigger game library on PC, that it's obviously a better value. Objectively speaking, you cannot argue against that. At least back in the day, in like 2010, 2011, 2012, at least like 10 years ago, you could make the argument that a lot of these online games just had so much more players on console than on PC, so it was worth paying for the online, because like, let's say you got the PC version of Call of Duty, but the servers are dead because nobody plays on PC, but everybody's playing on Xbox. It was worth the price of Xbox Live Gold because that's where the community was. With crossplay, though, it doesn't really matter what version of an online game that you buy anymore. So the value of having a console version of a game over a PC version is just, it's non-existent. There is zero advantage to having a game on console over PC. And what I find the biggest slap in the face is that when you're buying these Xbox games, you're playing on the same servers, you're playing the same game, but if you decide to buy a console, you have to pay more money to play the game online than if you had on PC, which is nothing. You don't have to pay anything for online. So there is an actual Xbox tax, just not the one that people are actually talking about and should be talking about. Another point about the paid online, because this is a common argument, common damage control point that I hear from a lot of Xbox fanboys saying, well, what about Game Pass? You're not talking about Game Pass and the value that adds to your purchase of a console. Like if you pay $350 for a Series S, and then you keep paying $15 a month for Game Pass Ultimate, which includes the paid online, you also get access to over 100 games instantly available in your library. Well, first of all, those games are only there as long as you keep paying the subscription. While on PC, they're always giving away games for free, whether we're talking about Steam or Epic Games. Not a big fan of Epic Games, but the fact is, when they give games for free, there are no strings attached. You don't have to keep paying a subscription service in order to keep having those games for free. And they give out free games every week. And Steam also, they're developers that just have a game for free, like for a certain period of time. But if you get it in that time, you keep it forever, and there's no subscription. So that's one thing. Another thing, you're going to try to argue that the paid online is actually a better value than PC because it gives you this subscription service that gives you access to over 100 games. Cool. On PC, we have all these different emulators. We have Dolphin, which is the entire GameCube and Wii library. We have PCSX2, which can pretty much run all PS2 games, and countless other emulators that run perfectly and actually run better on PC than the original hardware, that you have thousands upon thousands of more games that you can play on PC for free that you can't even play on a modern console. I know they're on the Xbox Series X or Series S, you can get an emulator on there, but if Microsoft sees that you have it, they're going to pretty much brick your console and ban you from their service. So, yeah. But I just had to mention that because that's one of my favorite arguments that these Xbox fanboys especially try to use to try to, try to negate the value of PC and try to make it so that these consoles actually do have value to them. Like, sorry, but if you try to use that argument talking about Game Pass, you're a total clown. Never mind the fact that there are so many free-to-play games on PC that are PC exclusive and never have been, never will be released on a console. So any way you do the math, there are thousands upon thousands of more games that you can play on PC for free that don't require a subscription service. But I think more than all that, there's just so much more of a vast game library on PC, so many games that I've accumulated over the years, that even if all that other stuff was worked out on console, they got rid of paid online, they actually were a good value, and they had exclusive games that were worth playing only on that platform. Even if all of that was worked out, at the end of the day, I have so many games on PC, there would be no reason for me to switch over to a brand new platform where my game library isn't anywhere close to what it is on PC. I just want to stay where I am. There's no reason to leave. PC is where I'm at, and it's always going to be where I'm at. I am never going to switch back to console. You can remember this video, look back 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. Hopefully I'm still alive at that point, and I can guarantee you that I will never play on console ever again. Because I have no reason to. Absolutely no reason to go back. At this point, I consider consoles to be in the same conversation as cable TV, CD players, other obsolete shit that once served a purpose but now don't have any at all. That's what console gaming has become.